Welcome everybody. It's your boy Mark, an MUFC fan, and you know what it is, guys. The Trini boy is here. It's been a long one, a long night for me, a long day of sufferation, stress, frustration. Of course, guys, it's been a difficult time. I would say to you, I was really hyped. Everyone, including you, my brothers and sisters, and my friends and my family, the Caribbeans, Trinidad and Tobago, Soca Warriors, wherever you are in this world, we were all excited for this moment and was hopeful that we would somehow eclipse Jamaica in this game at home, thereby getting 3 points of the six that we needed to continue this dream that of World Cup 2026 that possibly is over because we weren't good enough. We didn't get the assorted points. Of course, the performances, the stats, the metrics say we were very good, but the results say not good enough. Guys, where do we go from here? What does Trinidad and Tobago do? We have a game in 48 hour just about 4 days where we play, Bermuda in the last game. Is it a fat match? Possibly so. Is it going to be one of the games where we just, whatever happens, happens? Hopefully not. What I would say is, guys, it's been a difficult one, and everyone like me supporting Trinidad and Tobago, you feel it right here. It's a pain. It's hurtful. It's something that, no one is something in the back of your mind. You think it, it's a possibility, but you're hoping for the miracle. You're hoping for a big result, but we're not getting it. The performance from the young lads, you can't take anything away from them. They're fresh in their career of international football. And of course, we expect much better because we are Trinidad and Tobago. But realistically, this young squad, most of them averaging just about between 7 to 15 caps, besides Levi Garcia, besides Denzel Smith, and maybe one or two others. Kevin Molino, another experienced campaigner, but largely, youth, inexperience, talent, you know, potential for the future. And this is where the focus of Trinidad needs to lie. A 1-1 defeat to Jamaica, of course, there'll be lots of things could be said, lots of things that could be said, you know what I mean? But what's next is more important, guys. Where do we go? How do we improve? How do we take this disappointment and really turn it into something that is more of a joy in the future to come. And of course, we see a little bit of things happening. The Borussia Dortmund Academy is already on the ground in Trinidad and Tobago. They already welcomed their fourth minute mini clinic joining their team. And all these things would lead to development. Of course, it's a grassroots, it's on the ground level, it's going to take some time, but these things are steps towards the positive in the future. Of course, Trinidad and Tobago needs to develop their footballing at home. The once proud pro league, a dominant force in Caribbean football, is now almost amateur league, semi-pro type style. We need to improve. We need everyone to come together, not just fans, not just the public, not just the media, not just YouTubers, you know, private society members who could actually influence actual change, the government, sports ministers, sporting bodies. We need you all to take this seriously. This is a wake-up call to Trinidad and Tobago, guys. And when I say it's a wake-up call, you can see the potential. You can see the talent. Of course, you can see what Dwight York has done since taking over the club, the country national team in a very short time. He's done a remarkable job from a team that's difficult to watch to a team that's hopeful and gives you, inspires you, that gives you the feeling that we can do something. This is what we want to have, and we want more. It's not enough. We want more. We want to go further, further than we went before. We want to go out of the group stage at the next World Cup. Of course, it's not going to be 2026, but it could be 2030. With the young talents we have, we see the youngster Roald Mitchell coming into the game last night. He did pull up at a terrible time. It looked like he was clean through. Trinidad might have had their second goal and that dream realized, but it was not to be. But that young talent speaks volumes because there are many more like him, just like him, not just in the MLS next, but also in Europe leagues. Not only that, but they are young budding talent coming straight from home, produced right in the home soil. And all these youngsters are looking, they're hoping, they're wanting something to give Trinidad that opportunity, just like they've hoped that these guys would have given to us last night. And guys, I tell you this because, yeah, it was a difficult game. I woke up late. I was late to the party, 20 minutes already played, but when I turned it on, Trinidad was on. We were getting chances. We were not taking them. We were not clinical. Sure, we played well. We created lots of chances, dominated in large portions of the game, but we were unable to finish. Being unable to finish has been the story of Trinidad and Tobago's campaign thus far. We drew against Curacao, a team that we are clearly better than, but unable to score. It's the same thing again when we went to Jamaica, unable to score. We did put the ball in the back of the net 3 times, but it weren't official, offside, and these sorts of things. Losing that game 2-0. But guys, this is not the end. And the moment we give up is the moment we go right back to where we were 20 years ago. It's not where we want to be. And I say this to you guys because, someone asked me a question last night. What if Trinidad loses? What would you do? Would you still hold on, guys? 1 second. I'll be right back. Guys, I have to apologize. Not feeling too well. Yeah, I had to wait for a second there. Apologize. Nah, bro. Didn't drink too much at all, bro. What happened is just not feeling well, bro. Have a migraine for the last part of the day. So that's why I kept changing the time because I was trying to, get it down so I could come on and give the stream and give my reaction to the game. But yeah, I don't drink that much, bro. Shout out to everyone in the building, But as I was saying before, my apologies there again. And I was just thinking that, we can't give up. Everyone, we need to, keep the fight, keep the heart. And of course, it's going to get tough. And of course, we need to see what is going to happen, what is going to be the end result. We win the last game, we finished with 8 points, third in the group. Of course, it's not what we've been expecting. But at the same time, I'm telling you all, if we don't support this and keep pushing and keep fighting, we're going to end up where we were 20 years ago. And that's not where we want to be, guys. We want to be progressing. We want to be going forward. We want to be rising in CONCACAF. And we can rise. We can rise, guys. It's a possibility. But we must change. We must be steadfast and we must keep our focus. This must not be the situation that says to us, uh, same old Trinidad. You know, this must be the situation that says to us, how do we improve? How do we change this? How do we turn these performances into results? Not just good performances, but amazing results. And the only way to do this is by investing in the youth. Not just by investing in the youth only, but that is one major step. To invest in these youth, guys, we need to have certified coaches at every level, giving them the best possible direction and development that they can have from an early age. This will not only in turn improve all levels of football, but including the professional league. You know, I mean, it needs to be a professional league once more. This has to be the first goal because at the end of the day, you want to be able to criticize this team on the level of teams like England and all these other things. Because when you have your criticisms of our performances, you compare it to performances of other teams. Teams that have players who make tens of thousands of dollars a week just to kick a football. When most of our players, they don't earn that. Yeah. Some of the leagues that they are playing in is not even at the level of some of the leagues that we would criticize them for players that they play against. But we can change this. Yeah. And it all starts with one voice, one chance, one person making a stand. And of course, I'm not gonna claim to be that guy, but I'm definitely gonna be one of the guys to keep reminding everyone every single day, every single week, that Trinidad has shown that we have improved and we can take our football to another level and maybe higher heights than we have ever been before. Of course, it's going to be a disappointment. It's going to be certainly difficult. And of course, there might be some turmoil. Dwight York in his press conference last night reacting to the game seemed very emotional, not certain where his future is lying. Of course, he has another 6 months left on his contract. But will the higher ups say to him, we've seen what you're doing. We believe in your direction. We want you here for another campaign to continue building what you've begun. And this is where it gets important. The public and all private members of Trinidad and Tobago that wants to see improvement, wants to see a better way for the nation, not just for, monetarily, but for the youth, for society. We need to move forward, guys. We need to get this a situation where it's not a guessing game. York knows we want him to be here for the next 4 or 5 years for 2030's campaign, and we need to find out how we can do it. Of course, John. I mean, I don't want you guys to get Dwight York because the moment Dwight York gives that mentality to Jamaica, it's a wrap. It's going to be a difficult one. And shout out to you guys, big performance. You came to Trinidad. I expected it to be a difficult game. Sifa showing up very big for you guys last night. Of course, I expected Trinidad to score some more goals, but it's not been that tournament for Levi. Levi, or big guy or star, unable to get himself in the back of the net. It's going to be interesting. Small boy says he think we need a real goal poacher, striker strictly for finishing and push Levi to the right. I think that would be very assertive, bro, and understandable. But maybe Royal Mitchell could be that guy. It could be, another youngster that has ties and heritage to the nation in Antoine Hockford. Maybe he can be that guy. He looks the same type of powerful, pacey, strong, quick, prolific finishing striker that Royal is also seeming to be. And of course, he has not featured, but it's still early. And of course, we've just only recently opened up the grandfather law. So there's a lot of potential for Trinidad and Tobago, guys. Lots of potential. Yeah, and lots of talent coming through the ranks. So now is the time, as we say in Trinidad, beat the iron when it's stick, beat the iron with a stick when it's hot. And this is what we need to be doing. It's time to start the process now. 100% Chelsea Blue. You know what I mean? Get new players in the system and build, but where are we going to get the new players from? And this is the interesting part. We are going to have to be looking at youngsters, 17, 18, 19 years old. These are the guys that we are going to have to be working with. Do you think, and I have to ask you all, you know, for this team that a lot of people, will say to themselves, not good enough, against the Jamaican team, which is said to be the most talented Jamaican team ever assembled, for them to put on a display like they've put on against this Jamaican team, it's nothing to sniff at, guys. You know what I mean? And I mean, Dwight not wanting to bench Sealy, as a small boy is saying here, I think that's because we don't really have another option. Rio Cardines is out injured. We saw in the last game when Sealy came off, Rio Cardines moved into that right wing position. I think maybe it would have been a situation where Rio Cardines would have started in that right wing position against Jamaica tonight, last night, if he was not injured. It's difficult. How can we put it? It's a disappointing finish to a campaign that had so much promise for Trinidad and Tobago, so much hope, so much, riding on this one game, but it wasn't to be for us, guys. And being honest, this is not really a tactical breakdown of the game. It's just my reaction and it's just how I feel. And to be honest, guys, I just wanted to talk to you guys about the possibilities of what we can do going forward because realistically, it's not about being the end. This is just the beginning. We finally make strides forward and we cannot stop. And that has to be the message. If you're supporting Trinidad and Tobago football, you have to support it all the way. The World Cup dream for 2026 might be over, but the dream for 2030 must begin now. And that's the message. And that's what I want everyone to be saying. And if you support Trinidad and Tobago, this is what we need to be thinking right now. Because it's not about the fact that we failed to qualify, it's why we failed to qualify. We were not prepared. We did not have every single facet readily available to give us the best chance to qualify. Of course, Dwight York came in. Of course, we fought to get the grandfather law through. That didn't happen until the last window, and that was just barely 3 or 6 weeks ago in September. We need to do more. Now that we have all this infrastructure in place that will open the talent pool for Trinidad and Tobago, we need to make sure and push forward. We need to find out, we need to set a standard right now. We need to confirm who is the coach that's going to be there for the next 5 years today. Uh, It should have been done last night. In my honest opinion, they should have been made a decision weeks ago on whether they were going to keep Dwight York for the next 5 years or they are just going to see his contract out. And if they don't make a decision soon, I'm going to start to look at the TTFA and I'm going to criticize them. And I think we're going to have to investigate why and what is the reasoning behind this. Is it just because he didn't qualify? Because sometimes it doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? And we need to have some form of standard for Trinidad football, a measure that a bar that we have set, and a foundation needs to be built. And to build that foundation, it's not just going to take 6 months or a year, guys. It's something that's going to take a lot of time. Where do we go? What are your thoughts in the comments, guys? Small boy is saying, I hope Royal Mitchell is okay and he can start the Bermuda game to see how he fits in the squad. I'm not too sure if that's going to be a situation. He was retired from the game last night. He pulled up really hard. I liked what I see. I loved his intensity. His movement was very good. He ran some channels, and I think maybe it might be possible that even if he doesn't feature in the game on Tuesday, that he will certainly be featuring a lot for Trinidad and Tobago in the future. He's wearing a big number on his back, number 19. And to be fair, it's a number that Dwight York once carried, and it's a number that will always have a special place in the hearts of all Trinidadian fans, in my honest opinion. Chelsea says, I'm glad we can depend on local talent. They just need to get out early. We missed Mully Khan. Bad. Molino can't do a full 90. But, what local talent can we really depend on? Where have you seen that local talent? Most of the players in the squad, they aren't really local talent, my bro. And at the same time, it's one of those things where I say to you this, it's not about local talent or foreign talent. It's about having the best players readily available for the squad. And of course, that is in itself a difficult job for a manager, but at least he should be having that job, to be fair, in my honest opinion. Trinidad going up, of course, it's the rise, not only Trinidad, but I would like to say that this is the beginning of the rise of Caribbean CONCACAF, as a powerhouse in world football. And the reason why I'm saying that is look at Curacao. No one expected them to be the team splitting the group and taking top spot. Currently, it's interesting. They came from nowhere. And that's something that's good to see in a sense. I would have preferred it for it to be Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica, but Curacao is another Caribbean island that, you know what I mean? It also improves the Caribbean. And this is what we're here for. So hopefully it's not just going to be, this was a party, and the festival is over, but it's something that we're gonna have going forward into the future. The Gold Cup Nation League, Copa America, World Cup, so much to prepare for. 100%. And when you say it like that, before we never had the Nations League. The Caribbean and the CONCACAF region had some of the least amount of football that was played among federations. So having the likes of, the Copa America being open to the top qualifying Caribbean teams, and also having the likes of a Nations League is something that's very good. And that introduction, it really brings more competition, more chances for players to develop themselves, more chances for players to face different types of competition and opposition, and definitely allows small nations like Caribbean nations, to have more football at high level. And this is a positive, and the opening of this World Cup to 48 teams certainly will push this agenda forward. So it's something pretty easy. I would say it's a no-brainer for Trinidad and Tobago to, dive right in, to invest in more into football, developing the grassroots, helping facilitation for certifying all of the coaches, or setting a standard that all coaches from all academies and certainly must have at least a CONCACAF C or UEFA C or a CONCACAF B or UEFA B license. These things are pretty much easier to be accessible now. You can do these courses online. You can do your accreditation, at different locations now. So I think there's no excuse for coaches to not get themselves certified, because it gives our youth the best possible chance of being successful, and it will stop situations like what happened last night. We would be at home, and yes, we have an amazing home record in this campaign, but maybe we would have won that game instead of drawing it. And these are the questions, and these are the things that, the thoughts that we want to fix. It's not just about talent, it's all about mentality, focus, and forward thinking. And this is how Trinidad is going to go forward, guys, because we need to push, we need to do more. And you know what I mean? The Jamaicans, they want Dwight York. They rather sack McLaren right now and hire Dwight York. And this alone should tell Trinidadians and the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association why we must secure this manager for the next 5 years. You know what I mean? And Andre Raymond, in my opinion, certainly we should find a replacement for Andre Raymond. I think he should be coming off the bench. He's an experienced player, but in my honest opinion, he's certainly nowhere near where he needs to be if Trinidad is to go to the World Cup. And I could say that, and people might disagree with me, but I'll be honest and say we've seen better. And of course, if we have, then surely we can do better, in my honest opinion. And it's all about the Caribbean going up 100%. Well, that's if Trinidad and Tobago qualifies for this tournament. It's left to be seen, but hopefully they will do a good job. And at the same time, guys, my focus is on the future. And when I say that, maybe with the likes of the Borussia Dortmund Academy being in Trinidad, maybe we could find some way to form a synergetic situation to allow for the facilitation of, exchange of information and know-how, and maybe even, the ability to certify coaches. These are things and creative ideas we need to work on. People who are on the ground, I put it in your hands. I'm not there, but I'm definitely going to speak my mind and speak my ideas and opinions about how we can improve Trinidad and Tobago each and every week. And guys, the goal is simple. The Caribbean must rise. Trinidad must rise. Every island wants to make a World Cup, and we should all have that chance. You know what I mean, guys? I'm sorry I can't stay on any longer. I'm really not feeling so well, guys. I will definitely be live tomorrow. But thank you for joining me. Don't forget to smash the likes and subscribe if you're new. It's your boy Mark N, Trini boy extraordinaire. And of course, this little disappointed. More about the result, not really the performance, because the young guys really gave their heart and soul. It was just a little bit sad that we couldn't finish the chances that we created, because we certainly would have had multiple goals in that game. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Have a good night. Trini boy out. Tough times, but we are going to push through. And that's my message to each and every one of you.
Baby.